Once I've got through the unread emails, and again, that's the process I go through every day, not just on Sunday. Now I'm left with everything in the just sort of everything else section here, and that's how I have my mail organized. By the way, that's in the settings over here. If I go to Configure Inbox, I choose not to have the tabs. Right? It says select tabs to enable, but then elsewhere in the settings I have it set with the priority inbox showing, which is why you don't actually see the tabs, even though I want them showing because I want to see those emails, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, so, make sure you play around with the settings and get it the way you like. I like the priority mailbox because Google seems to be actually pretty smart about figuring out, which are the important emails, and it sticks them in this important and unread section. And if it doesn't guess right, then you simply, click off one of these little guys here to let it know, hey, these are important. So the next time that sender sends you something, it will show up there. Or if something shows up there that shouldn't, vice versa, of course. Now it's a simple process. I'm going to go through each and every single email, and we're going to see what to do with it. Either it's going to be something that I can file right away, like this thing, without even opening it. I know I can file it. It's based on plans I'm making with a friend. And then as I do that, a new email comes in. So I'm going to I open each one and click. Now, this can seem daunting. If I click over here where it says 1 to 25 of many, it shows me I have 352 emails, but you'll realize this process actually goes pretty fast because most of it is going to be junk. So here I see, and with this, as I mentioned earlier when this email showed up, it's something that I can follow up in one of two ways. A lot of times I just delete this because, again, I know I'm going to go into my project manager and actually delete this. There's a lot of old stuff in here too that I just never marked finished, right? So, that's the kind of stuff that I may or may not get to today. It's not a priority, obviously. It's not bothering me. So I'm going to delete that email. These I have, and this is, again, this is unique, but I want you to understand the thinking that goes through my mind when I'm doing this. So here's an appointment. Somebody booked a 30-minute, free consult with me through Schedule Once. I have an assistant who follows up with these emails and actually sets up the appointment in our project management system so that when the day of the appointment comes, the call, I actually have a place where I can go, where I know to go, where I'll see the information. And in particular, of course, what I'm going to want to have at the time of the call is, this down here, where they tell me exactly what it is they're looking for help with. So this I'm going to archive. I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to archive it because if I do need to find it later, that way I know I can. If for some reason I can't find it in our project manager or any number of other reasons. But for the most part, so this is where it's going to be based on your situation and a case-by-case basis, how you handle these things. Here's Evernote reminders. Now, Evernote, if I click on these, I'll have an option to launch it in the local app, which is cool. But again, because I know another part of my process later today on Sunday is going to be to go through Evernote and everything I've marked for follow-up, and I'm going to kind of reorganize that stuff, and that's going to be another video. I can delete this one. Here's a new email that came in, so we'll just go ahead and delete it. Payments that I received, I click these. They get a label. I have a label for this stuff called shopping cart because there's the order and there's the payment. Okay, this I also have a part of my process which says go through your blog and answer any questions or comments. So I know I can safely delete this. So again, when you have things built into your process that enable you to reassure yourself that you're going to follow up on something without having to worry about the email, it helps because then you can simply delete the emails. Here's a Wells Fargo receipt. I'm just going to archive it. Here's that YouTube email. So this is just because I'm subscribed to the channel. So it's kind of funny. I'm getting my own email or my own video sent to me because it's on another channel that I'm subscribed to as Nerd Enterprises. We'll archive this. And then these I'm going to go through and make sure I've accepted. These are appointments I need to accept. So that's the basic process afterwards. And you'll see I'll finish the last part of this video. But I'm going to go through each thing. Now, I want to find something first before I conclude this video that I'm going to forward to Evernote for follow-up. I know it's probably pretty obvious, but as I often say, I'm a visual person. I'm sure you are too. So here's one for sales receipts questions. Now, here again, I have a system with my assistant. This one needs to get forwarded to her. So we're going to send that to Katie. And I don't really even need to put a message in. She'll know exactly what to do. She's going to follow up with her and say, hey, you can schedule a 30-minute consult or go sign up for a one-on-one. And then I archive that. What could I forward to Evernote? Here. So here's something, and here's a perfect example of why, I've had this conversation with colleagues that say, why don't you just deal with everything as it comes in? And I say that's not always possible. The nature of my business and what I do is it's not like everything's customer service where I'm going to respond right away and fix their problem and move on. Some things require more time. Here, Scott, who is, I think, the editor-in-chief, if I'm not mistaken, of the Intuit Accountants blog, is asking me about my author profile on that accountants blog. So I want to make sure I follow up with this, but I'm not going to do it now because I need to take the time to, grab a bio, maybe edit it a bit. So there's some work to be done there, and I don't want to stop to do it now because right now I want to stay focused on cleaning out my inbox. So we're going to forward this to Evernote. Evernote, of course, gives you a unique email address, which when you forward any emails to it will show up in whatever you've established as your default notebook. And that way I go in there, and that's the last part of the email process, which I'm going to show you in the next video. So that's my process that I do every Sunday. I literally just go through, after I clean out the unread stuff, I go through every single email by email, and either delete it, file it if it's something I don't need to worry about anymore, but I want to have it for access later should I need it, or I forward it to Evernote like I'm doing right here. That's the process. So we'll see you in the last segment, where I'll go over the final part of the process, which actually takes place in Evernote, where I'm going to deal with all these things that I've just forwarded to Evernote. And you'll see it's not that bad. It's not usually that many, and it's a pretty fast process to complete. But it really definitely helps me get a lot of peace of mind around the fact that I feel like I'm on top of things, I'm organized, and I'm not going to miss anything, leave any money on the table by overlooking something that somebody sent me where they were interested in my services or anything else for that matter. It makes me feel very confident that nothing will slip through the cracks, so to speak. I'll see you in the next segment.